What if healing was not just about fixing the body, but about shifting your awareness? What if true healing began not in your skin or bones, but in your thoughts, your emotions, and your connection with the divine? These are not just philosophical questions. They are the essence of what Paramahansa Yogananda taught about health, illness, and the deep power of inner transformation. Yogananda explained that there are three kinds of illness: physical, mental, and spiritual. And while they may appear distinct, they are intimately connected. Healing one often requires addressing all three. The roots of illness, according to Yogananda, physical illness comes from toxins, infections, or accidents, things we can see, test, and treat. But mental illness arises from something less visible. Fear, anger, worry, depression, emotional states that over time become patterns of suffering. And deeper still is spiritual illness, which he defines as the ignorance of our true nature, our disconnection from God. What is profound here is the idea that health is not merely the absence of pain or disease. True health is wholeness, when body, mind, and soul are in harmony. And most importantly, when we forget our spiritual essence, when we live disconnected from our source, all other forms of illness find fertile ground. The power of attention. One of the most powerful lessons in this teaching is the role of attention. Yogananda warns us, if you focus constantly on your illness, you give it more power. You feed it with your energy. This doesn't mean we ignore symptoms or avoid treatment. It means we stop obsessing over what's wrong and begin energizing what is right. Healing in this light is not passive, it's an act of conscious alignment. Instead of meditating on the sickness, Yogananda urges us to meditate on the quality we wish to embody. Replace fear with courage, replace anger with peace, replace weakness with strength. This shift of focus is not just psychological, it is spiritual and energetic. Our thoughts are not meaningless echoes in our mind. They create grooves in the brain, shape our nervous system, and over time, determine whether we vibrate in harmony with health or illness. Breaking the habit of sickness. We tend to think of sickness as something that just happens to us. But Yogananda suggests a radical idea. Chronic illness is often a habit, a subconscious pattern etched into our thoughts, our emotions, and even our cells. If we've spent years thinking, "I'm always tired," or "I never feel well," these thoughts become embedded in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious, once trained, will keep playing the same record unless we rewrite it. To change this inner program, we need to go deeper than surface-level affirmations. We must speak to the subconscious with enough emotional and spiritual intensity that it begins to believe the truth of our words. I am healthy. I am strong. I am full of divine energy. And when these affirmations are charged with deep feeling, clear attention, strong will, and devotional faith, they do more than influence the mind. They reach the superconscious, that divine intelligence within us that holds the blueprint for healing, creativity, and transformation. The role of vital energy. You might be wondering, how does saying a phrase like "I am well" actually change anything? Isn't this just wishful thinking? Yogananda answers this with one of his most powerful teachings. Healing doesn't come from the words alone. It comes from energy, what he calls life force or prana. When we think with intensity, we move energy. When we affirm with willpower and focus, we direct that life force toward healing. This is not fantasy, it's physics. The same energy that animates our body can be redirected. If it has been flowing toward stress, worry, and tension, we can retrain it to flow toward harmony, calmness, and health. This is why imagination alone can't heal, nor will pure logic, nor even strong emotion by itself. What heals is the awakening of energy, and our conscious direction of that energy, using attention, faith, and inner discipline. In a way, it's like waking up a part of ourselves that has been asleep. When energy is asleep, illness spreads. But when energy awakens through affirmations, through meditation, through prayer, the healing process accelerates. Yogananda uses a beautiful metaphor. Imagine a room that has been dark for hours, days, or even years. You don't have to remove the darkness. You simply have to turn on the light. Healing, he says, can happen in an instant. Not because you fought the disease harder, but because you aligned with the source of life. You stopped energizing the illness and started calling forth the light. But he also warns, this doesn't mean we should expect immediate results or grow anxious when they don't come. Healing happens in its own time, according to the depth of your faith and the clarity of your mind and energy. It is not time that determines healing. It is alignment. One of the great spiritual pitfalls in the healing journey is anxiety disguised as effort. Many people repeat affirmations while secretly fearing they won't work. They pray, but with desperation. They visualize, but with doubt. And this inner contradiction, Yogananda explains, neutralizes the healing process. It's like taking a medicine while simultaneously swallowing its antidote. For healing to be effective, your belief must be unified. Your mind, heart, and energy must agree. When you affirm your wellness, do it as if it were already true. When you visualize healing, do it with the certainty that the light has already been turned on. And if your mind wanders, don't worry, just bring it back. Train it like a child. Teach it again and again to concentrate on what you want to grow, rebuilding the habit of health. Just as illness can become a habit, so can health. If you've spent years unconsciously reinforcing patterns of sickness, mentally or physically, it may take time to reprogram your inner world. That's okay. Be patient, be loving, be consistent. Every time you affirm health, you are digging a new groove. Every time you sit in stillness and meditate on divine energy, you are shifting the currents of your inner life. Eventually, the new pattern becomes stronger than the old one. You start to feel different, you think different, and most of all, you believe different. Faith becomes your natural state, not forced, not faked, but real. And from that place, healing is not only possible, it becomes inevitable. Yogananda never saw the human will as separate from the divine. He always pointed to God as the ultimate source of healing. But this wasn't a call to passivity. It was an invitation to cooperate with the divine flow. When you bring your will, your attention, your feeling, and your faith into harmony with God's presence, miracles begin to unfold. Not necessarily as lightning bolts, but as quiet transformations, a sudden peace, a deep knowing, an unexpected recovery, a new strength rising from within. You are more than a body. You are more than your thoughts or emotions. You are a spark of divine consciousness, and that consciousness has the power to heal, renew, and awaken everything within you. Healing is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you. When you remember who you really are, when you stop feeding the illness with fear and start nurturing your soul with truth. So if you are suffering, physically, emotionally, or spiritually, take a moment now. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply. Affirm silently. I am whole. I am light. I am healed. Say it again, not with desperation, but with deep peace, with the calm certainty that the divine within you is already working. You are not broken, you are becoming. And with every breath of faith, the light grows stronger. If this message touched something deep within you, don't let it fade. Take this wisdom into your daily life. Begin today, even with one thought, one affirmation, one breath of faith. And if you feel called to help others awaken to this truth, share this video with someone who needs healing. Subscribe for more soul-nourishing insights, and together, let's walk the path of inner transformation, one conscious step at a time.